Welcome to Season 5 of the VanRocha podcast, hosted by Gene Van Horn, a Gen X thinker with over 30 years of marketing and sales experience. Each episode, he sits down with innovative professionals who have that special spark, people who inspire us all to do more and be more. Today's guest is Priscila Fletcher, an award-winning customer success professional and the founder of Latinos in Success, a community founded to empower Latinx business professionals worldwide.
The goal is to provide resources in Spanish and Portuguese. I like to think of like just us giving them access to reach more people and to talk to people that they otherwise would have never met.
How can a strong sense of community help you provide mentorship and opportunities for others? Priscila will illuminate us on this topic and more in episode 2 of season 5 of the VanRocha podcast. Enjoy the episode.
I definitely love working with people, but I also love connecting. And I got to do a lot more in-person stuff this season, I guess, which is really nice. I was stuck in the house working by myself for a while, and then this year I got to get out and like actually travel and visit people and have in-person happy hours and go to events and learn. I feel like after the pandemic, I got into this very bad habit of being scared of being outside, because I'm like a germ-free kind of thing. I'm always sanitizing my hands. Before the pandemic, it became a habit of not doing certain things. So this year was definitely like the year that I'm like, okay, I just gotta break that habit and just keep doing it. Internally, I'm very shy and very introvert. And I think sometimes when I'm in front of people, I play this like extrovert and not shy persona kind of thing. But internally, if I could just hide in my box, I would,
Now, that's an interesting revelation because there's many people like that. I know what you described, I somewhat do that too. It's almost like you got to push a button and just kind of jump. Since you brought that up, how would you encourage a person who wants to stay in that box? What would you say to them?
People that thrive and they're happy is because they live in community, right? They have people surrounding them. They're doing things with family or friends. So it's all a combination. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I push myself, because you get into this rabbit hole where you're like, oh, I'm okay doing things alone. I'm okay keeping my head down working. I'm okay not doing much. I don't need to go out. You have to push yourself. It's either that or like, then you have to worry about other things, right? Because when one day you wake up and you don't realize that you're depressed, and you're like, what happened? What did I do in the past 12 months? Oh, yeah, I didn't get out of the house. I don't have any friends. I just worked. No wonder, So I'm constantly trying to be aware. Is like, I don't want to take medication. I don't want to get into the place where I have no friends and nobody around me. You know what I'm saying?
That's what people need to hear. It's like a necessity of life, isn't it? Especially the living longer part. The consequences become more apparent way down the road. That's really the best way to start, because you're such a sterling example in kind of getting out of your comfort zone. That 15-year journey of customer service excellence that you have, can you tell us a little bit about how this Brazilian young lady, basically grabbed this profession by the horns and became award-winning? What did you do? Where did it start?
One of my first jobs when I was 18 years old, I managed the finance group in a medical spa in Brazil, which is like a medical spa there is a different, what we call here in the States. It's something similar to a rehab, right? Like for overweight people only. We were treating like people that had either a disease or they're overweight or just going there for mental health, because it was a place with very strict rules. Like people would have to come in and stay there for at least 7 days. We would go through their suitcases and everything to make sure that they didn't have any food with them. It was very strict, but it was what had to be done. And that taught me so many lessons about business. Like even the whole rule of like, you have to be here for 7 days, because if you don't, It's not going to work. You're not going to lose any weight, and then you're going to get out and trash our name. So we don't want to do that. We tell you what to do, and you're not telling us how long that's going to take. So that's one lesson. But in managing that, it was tough, right? Because I was 18 and I had to be in charge of receiving all the money that came in. So everybody that came in, they would go to the reception to check in, and then they would go to my office to pay. A lot of people stayed there for like 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. It depends like how much weight they had to drop or what they were treating. And we had doctors on staff. It was a big resort. There I got to learn what the customer journey looks like, right? Like who are the first people you see when you come in? Who are the people with you throughout your journey? How are they making you feel and the impact that has on your treatment? And then the last person to see them and see the impact they had and the transformation too, right? Some people that stay there 6 months, they'll leave that place a different person, not only like healthier, but happier, seeing that journey and seeing the impact because they were also under a lot of stress, right? They were like not only spending a lot of money to eat nothing, and sometimes they were there because family members put them there. So for me, it was always like, how can I make their journey better? How can I make sure that they're okay, that they're gonna go through this and feel okay? I would stay there from time to time, like just to be in their shoes and to see what was the experience like. I think that was like a crucial experience for me to like learn, not only learn how to deal with like emotions and the customer journey and be in it and really live it and also like dedicate myself to something at such a young age. It was an experience that I carry with me until today. Like the customer journey matters, how you're feeling matters, your emotions matter because that's going to impact how you behave as a customer and how you behave throughout your journey.
I don't know percentages, but I do know business experience, and many people just are not in tune with that. Obviously, there's different reasons, but what is your take on that? People sometimes don't focus on that. They focus on everything else about the sale and the business, but not that customer experience. What's your mindset?
And I'm gonna say we because sometimes, I'm not perfect. Sometimes we forget that the person on the other side is always a person too. They have feelings, they have motivations, they have goals. They don't just have a wallet that is there to pay us for what they're buying, and sometimes I see often people just seeing the wallet. We need to close this deal and we need to move on because I got to chase the next sale, the next customer, the next growth, the next opportunity. If they're buying this, there's a reason behind. What's the reason behind? What is it that made them make this choice, make this purchase they made? What are they here for? And I tend to do that to kind of like go behind the layers, right? Like those are things that you can kind of like grasp and hold on to it and make that journey better and make the impact. It's really remembering, put yourself in their shoes and think about them as people.
I think of the Native Americans, like you want to walk a mile in somebody's shoes before you judge their situation. So it really epitomizes what you have done. You won in 2024, one of the top 100 customer service professionals, and you're to be commended on that. What was that award? Because it's prominent in your heading and it's definitely impressive. What was that for?
Every year, Success Hacker, they will put in this award, which is recognizing the top 100, and then they have also the top 25. But first, they narrow down to the top 200 global customer success strategists. So sometimes you just have your head down and you work so hard, and that's one of those things that helps you like not only see the recognition, but also see, oh, okay, I'm doing something right and I'm impacting other people's life because mostly that award is an opportunity for people to recognize people that had an impact in their lives. We give so much and we're selfless. Like we want to help, we want to support, we want to bring people up as we go up. But sometimes it's hard to measure your impact and measure like how are you impacting people's life? Who are really being impacted? So that's one of the awards that you can really see it like, okay, I'm doing something right. I'm going in the right direction. It's okay to keep my head down and keep working because we are impacting people out there. Even if we don't know their names or their faces, there's impact there. And I think that's all that matters for me is like if we can help as many people as we can and reach as many locations, that's the goal for sure.
This provides me the opportunity to give you congratulations. You're approaching your 2-year anniversary with Latinos in Success in February. And that organization is just amazing to me. We want to focus a little bit on that to let people know about your organization. Can you say why you started that? Because it's growing and growing, and it just seems to be encouraging thousands of people. What does Latinos in Success stand for? What does it do?
I didn't even think about it that we're going on to our second anniversary already until now, because as I always tell people, the work I do with Latinos in Success, it doesn't feel like work. It comes out of my heart. Sometimes I got to remind myself, like, okay, you got to go back to your day job and do the things that, brings the income and all that. Because when I do that at night on the weekends, it just brings me joy. It makes me feel connected to the people in the community. But initially, when I started that, it was mostly to solve one of my own pains, right? I'm part of all these communities and customer success here in the US, but I was missing something. I was like, I don't feel like I belong into any of these communities because I'm usually the only Latina in the room. I'm usually the only like women in working in tech companies, like in the rooms with all these engineers. And so it was one of those things that I needed to feel connected and also give back. I was at a stage of my life, I was like, so many people helped me get to where I am. I learned so much from folks in the industry that I feel like I'm in a position to give back, to help, and to bring others to give back. And especially to bring some of the stuff that we have access here in the US to Latam. I'm like, well, we have access now. Why not give them access now? To me, it seems normal because I live in New York. A lot of people don't have access to this, folks. So why don't we give them access to it? I'm just here to facilitate and to bring the ideas to life and to support. And everybody in the community, they're just like doing so much. They're running with things and they're bringing ideas to the table. They're participating. What you envision, you don't know exactly how you're going to do it. And then you're like, okay, this is how we do it. We just got to give people the power to do it.
I know what I have learned, but how would you, as the founder of Latinos in Success, explain in detail like the benefits to someone who wants to become part of the community?
The biggest benefit for me is like the community and connection. So I think going back to that first thing that we talked about, it like how community connection and doing things outside of your comfort zone, how that brings you happiness and joy. And I think for us, we go a step up. If that brings you happiness and joy, that's also going to bring you confidence. And that's also how you're going to get promoted, how you're going to make more money and continue to grow in your career. If you can bring your whole self to work to the community and you have people that can support you, you have peers that you can learn from, fireside chats that we have throughout, mentorship programs that we have, just support groups in general. And generally we're going to have a one-on-one mentorship that's coming. That's something that we do once a year. We pair people up with a mentor and they spend like a quarter or 6 months with a mentor. And even after they finish, I've been hearing a lot this year, like people, they finish the program, but they still talk to their mentor once a month because they kept the connection. A lot of people never had a mentor, and you'll be surprised to see when they come to us and we ask that question, have you had a mentor? Have you worked with a mentor before? And I would say 60% of the group that came to us never had a mentor before. And it's very common, especially for us, like Latinos, is like you're taught from a young age that you have to keep your head down, work, and be grateful for what you have and don't ask for much. It's hard to ask for a mentor, to ask for a raise, to ask for a promotion. We know the pain, we understand each other, and we're like, okay, I know it's hard, but we have to change that. If you don't change, nothing changes. So we got to change it.
That's wonderful. I'm so glad to hear about that. And that is something that happens to some immigrant communities. And could you explain why you think that is, where a person just says, hey, I'm good, or I've got this and I don't want to ask for more? What's the drive behind sometimes that timidity?
How do you do that when you're raised in a way where women don't speak at a table? Women don't get to ask for things. Women just stay home and take care of the kids. The generations that are coming now, like my daughter, right? Like very different from how I was raised. They can speak, they can ask for things, they can do things. We're teaching them how to do that, but we were not raised to do that. So it's really hard to like, okay, how do I shift my mentality by the time I get in my 30s and my 40s and my 50s, right? Like you've been living that life for the last 20 years and you're expected to just shift it like this because now you're a leader, now you're a manager. So it's a lot of practicing, a lot of like talking, a lot of being able to admit that out loud and to recognize where that pain is coming from and to work on it because I'm a big believer that you can change. Like I left my country and I said I refuse to live that reality that they're putting in front of me right now. I'm gonna change the story and the narrative here. And I believe in that for everything in life. Like you can change the narrative, you can change how you tell your story.
I love to see people breaking out of molds, just becoming more of who they want to be. That's wonderful. And I love your community too. I've met Sophia Gago and Joey Medrano. Both of them, I should say, just seem to be so enthusiastic about what they experience with Latinos in Success. What would you call the bench of people or the team that is taking the lead? What do you call them?
So we call them Squad. It's a team of volunteers. They work with me. I think right now we have 12 and then 13 with me. We volunteer our time, like whenever we have free time to whether it's like writing the newsletters, doing the fireside chats, hosting fireside chats in Spanish now, being mentors when we have the mentorship program, writing articles, managing the back end, writing documentation, website, YouTube, like everything that you see, somebody's putting their time and their love. We usually try to do like divide and conquer, even like the in-person happy hours, right? Like you see me and Cynthia, like we're always collaborating on that. She's part of the squad. So I try to collaborate as much as I can with them on everything because I have a vision for like where do we want to go and I support them in everything they need. But for the most part, it's something for them to run, with that. And whether they want to learn how to build a website or how to write a newsletter or how to do, fireside chats and interview people, that's my way of like, okay, we're gonna do this together because this skill you're gonna carry with you throughout your life, and this is gonna be helpful somewhere else. We usually try to pair them up with things that they want to learn and do because at the end of the day, that's what matters. If they're happy, they're learning, then we can keep going. When people just selfishly, they want people to do things for either their customers or the community or somebody else, but them, it doesn't work. There's no motivation behind.
Very nice. So this leads me to another question I had for you. You're a Harvard girl. Can you break that down for us? That's pretty impressive stuff, Priscilla.
Oh, oh my God. I was just talking about that, like, because I just had to finish a course and I'm in the middle, like, of like so many events and so many things and lunches and like all the things that we're launching new and for some of my clients. And I still had one course under my belt to finish. And I'm like, how do I do this? It was a time when I moved into a new role, and that new role ended up not working out because they ran out of money. And I was in a place where I was like, oh, I just left my job and now I'm here and now I lost this job. What am I going to do? This is like, it was a time when I was questioning myself and my decisions and my confidence and my worth so much because I was like, why did I make this decision? Why did I not see the red flags? How did this happen? I left a job where I was like happy managing a team, doing good things, but it all has the answer. So I told myself I'm gonna like invest this money that I have now into my own education. I started working with a coach. I started taking classes at Harvard Business School because I knew that was the only way that I could prevent myself from making those bad decisions again, right? I'm like, okay, I made a bad decision. I didn't see the red flags. But what I can't do now is use this money that they paid me because they made a mistake, right? To invest in myself and put that towards a course, put towards something that nobody can ever take away, which is my knowledge, especially growing up in Brazil. It's like everything is just so expensive and so unattainable. And then now it's like when you have the opportunity to do certain things, you have to grab it and just do it and just show up, even though sometimes it's really hard. I study on the weekends, I study at night, but it's something that for me is not a choice. If I don't do it, I'm gonna regret it. So I might as well go through the pain. It's just like one of those things like eating right or going to the gym. You don't want to do it, but you know you're gonna regret it. And if you don't do it, the results are not gonna be good. So it's just one of those things. I enjoy doing it, but time is it's short. So sometimes I go through the pain of not having enough time.
You were featured in one of their recent videos too. They must be proud of you.
Yeah, I was so excited to when I got the call and they wanted to interview me because I was like, oh, okay, that's exciting. And they had a massive like production team there where they record their online courses. So when I got there, I was like, oh my God, this is like serious. I thought this was just a short video, but they had like a whole production team. It was really professional. Their team is just amazing. Definitely a proud moment because you work so hard. And then when you're there, every year when I go to the conference at Harvard Business School, I spend all day there once a year. And it just makes me feel like, I don't know, the feeling that explains it because it brings back those things, the pain that, when I couldn't afford things to go to school in Brazil and I couldn't afford to do certain things. And you always feel like you're last, that you're not worth it, that you're not good enough. So whenever I'm there, I feel like it doesn't matter how long it takes, as long as you do it, it's never too late. I'm just happy when I'm there.
Nice. That is so beautiful. What's it like for you living in New York City? You're a self-proclaimed introvert, but you like push through the barriers and you're surrounded by millions of people. Tell us a little bit about that. That would be interesting insight for us.
It's a lot living in New York because everything is big. The city never sleeps and there's like lights and people everywhere. So sometimes I avoid like going into busy places like Times Square because I'm not a big fan of like if there's too many people, I tend to like get a little, oh no, this is like too much. You get the anxiety. You're like, oh, this is a lot of people here. I don't feel as comfortable. So I choose, I think after so many years, like living here, I know what to do and what not to do, and places to go and places not to go. But I think the good thing there is like this energy here that I wasn't able to find anywhere. And I lived in Boston, I lived in San Francisco, I lived in São Paulo, big places and busy places also, but I was never able to find the same energy and the opportunity that I find here. So I always remind myself whenever I feel like it's too much or I'm tired or this is too big, I always remind myself, but this is where you came for the opportunity. So keep going. Don't forget that. And then now that I see my daughter like doing music and the opportunities that she's getting here because we're still here, that's a big reminder for me. It's like she wouldn't be getting this opportunity, in other places maybe. Like she had the opportunity to do some programs at Carnegie Hall, at CUNY, like all like fully paid and with people in the industry that they brought to support those kids. To me, it's still that I still see the shine, I still see the opportunity. I'm always grateful. I'm like, I live here, I get to live here. So I think gratitude is behind like the whole thing. If you're
Yeah,
grateful, you remind yourself, like, okay, this is good. This is a good thing.
that's great. And one question I had in my mind to ask you, there's so much controversy in the subject of artificial intelligence, Priscilla. Many people have extreme views one way or the other, but I just like to pick your brain and just see your mindset on your thoughts about the AI revolution, maybe pros and cons, but how does such a thinking person like yourself view some of the advances and challenges coming up with this new revolution?
Based on everything that I've been studying, all the conferences, everybody that I've heard talking about it, I think it's one of those things that you have to like at least try to stay on top of it. It doesn't mean you're going to know everything, that you're going to be able to use every single tool out there, but start with something. You don't let that fear of AI build up and then you feel like you're so far behind that it's hard to catch up. But also tell people to be careful. I have a teenage daughter. I always talk to her because you want to have that balance, right? Like, okay, to like not give up on some of your skills to give it away to AI. You want to keep practicing, you want to keep working your own skills. And then you want to use AI as just a support. A good example, what people use in schools, like a calculator or a dictionary. They use that as support to support their work instead of to do the work for them. It's just here to support my work, and I need to know how to manage this tool. Otherwise, then I'm going to be behind. And then people that know how to use this tool are going to go faster and further than me. So at least I try every single thing that I see out there, like that people recommend to me. I don't use everything, but at least I kind of like glance at it. I'm like, okay, let me see what this tool is doing. How can I use it? Can I use it or not? I don't want to overwhelm myself. So I probably just have like 5 tools that I use on a day to day. And I don't need to have 10 or 20, but I know how to use them and why, and I'm always like looking for new things. Don't be afraid of it. Try to learn as much as you can, and also that balance. Even in videos now, you see on YouTube all these fake videos with AI, right? So you can't let that inundate your mind because that's just noise. There's going to be a lot of noise and a lot of fake things, and you knowing how to filter, it's going to be the key.
So well said. So I'm kind of rounding it out, Priscilla, with your mindset of bringing tools to the Latino community, because sometimes we don't think of Brazilians as being Latino, but obviously they are, you are. I've done many years work with the Latino community, and I'm so excited with your involvement. How would you round out your viewpoint of the support you provide and that is provided amidst the Latino community? I mean, it's pretty much your space. Can you talk about that as we conclude?
Yeah, of course. There is that part where like Brazilians sometimes they don't consider themselves Latino. I consider myself Latina because I'm from Latin America and it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm proud. The first language I learned after Portuguese, it was Spanish. It was not English. I chose to learn Spanish because I love the language, but I also I'm like, why not? This is so close for what I already know. This is going to be so much easier. So I'm going to be one step ahead. And then I can learn English later. So, and that's what I did. That gave me, a leg up even when I moved here. Like, because I could speak English, Spanish, and Portuguese, I was able to get, certain jobs that people that only spoke English couldn't. And I had access to all the Americas, right? Like even when I started in sales, it's like, oh, you can sell in 3 languages? Great. You can have the whole territory. Good for you. And I'm like, yeah, okay, good. I have like a bigger territory than everybody else then. I think for us, the idea here in Latinos in Success is the goal is to provide resources in Spanish and Portuguese. We started everything in English to make sure everybody felt included. This is for everybody. I think the whole goal why I started is for the sense of belonging, and me starting everything in English was to make sure that this was open door, everybody could access. But now that we have more people, more resources, we're starting to put a lot of resources in Spanish, and then eventually we're going to do in Portuguese also. The goal is to bring the resources that we have here in the US to the Latin America folks that are doing customer success or working in tech or some type of like customer facing role. I think right now we have a big mix. There's a lot of folks in our community from different countries, and we even have people in Europe and Canada. There's a lot of folks here in the US, people in Chile, in Buenos Aires, and Brazil, everywhere. So it's just like really cool to see how one community, one place can connect so many people and can like provide this open door. I like to think of like just us giving them access to reach more people and to talk to people that they otherwise would have never met.
That's just great. I love watching the community grow. I like how things just went to more Spanish content, some months ago. It's just wonderful. You're giving back, you're strengthening all of us, Priscilla. We're so proud of you, and your future is unlimited.
Thank you. I appreciate you and I appreciate everything you do. Also the collaborations with the community. The more we do, right, the more we receive back, and it's just one of those things. It feels good, and it's just like a joy to be able to connect and to learn from people. I learned so much from everybody in the community, and it gave me the door to like meet people that I wouldn't otherwise. I collaborate with so many people in different countries, and then sometimes we meet in person and we feel like we already know each other. I didn't think I had enough power or enough popularity or knowledge or anything, right? At the beginning, you just doubt yourself. You're like, can I really do this? It's like, is this something that I can do? Well, who am I to think I could do this? All those thoughts come to your head, fight against, and like, yes, I can do it. I can definitely do this. So to see what's becoming and what already is, it's just like such a good feeling. And it's just like good things for sure.
You just put the cherry on top. We don't even need to say anything else. That's wonderful.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Share it with your friends. We'll be back next month with another great conversation. Miles Delphine, the founder of the Bike Scouts Project, will share with us his unique and strategic approach to disaster response in the islands of the Philippines. Please check out our links in the notes for more exciting updates and to follow Priscila and Latinos in Success. See you next time.